Welcome to the deep dive. We take fascinating sources, pull out the key insights, and give you that shortcut to really understanding complex topics. Today, we're asking something pretty interesting. Can a book from, 1937, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, can it actually still guide us today in this world?
It's a great question because, this book isn't just some forgotten text. We're talking over 100 million copies sold, translated into more than 50 languages. Its impact, it's genuinely global, and it has been for decades.
It really is staggering. So our mission for this deep dive is to connect Hill's 13 core principles to what's happening now. Things like global policy, how we actually behave, what entrepreneurs are facing, with real examples, say, from Singapore to Sao Paulo, basically showing you how these old ideas are maybe still playing out.
A shortcut to seeing timeless wisdom in modern action.
Exactly. So Hill kicks things off with desire. And he's very clear. This isn't just wanting something vaguely. It needs to be a burning obsession, a really definite target. Like his example, I will earn 10 core by age 40. That's what, about 1.2 million US dollars. Super specific.
And what's fascinating is how modern science kind of catches up to this. Research shows pretty consistently that writing down your goals, it actually boosts your chances of achieving them. Yeah. Sometimes by like 42%. It's more than just a thought. It's making it concrete. You're telling your brain this is real.
Right. It makes it tangible. So how does that translate to, say, policy? You look at Singapore's SkillsFuture scheme. It's this national program giving citizens credits for learning new skills. It feels like a way to channel that desire, right? Giving people the means for directed action.
Yeah, turning that personal want into a practical plan. And you see this individually, too. Take Priya from Delhi. She had this dream, this desire to start a rural health tech company. But she didn't just dream it. She wrote, launch telemedicine startup in Haryana by 2027. And her first real step, registering the company. Boom. Desire into a plan.
Okay, so you have this burning desire. You've maybe written it down. What next? Hill talks a lot about the subconscious, using things like affirmations, detailed visualization, really picturing it, feeling it.
And again, it's not just wishful thinking. Neuroscience backs this up. Mental rehearsal, visualizing an action. It actually lights up the same parts of your brain as doing the action. You're essentially practicing success mentally, building those pathways.
So like pre-paving the road. You can even see this in education policy. In Finland, famous for its education system, some high schools actually use vision boards, helping students visualize career paths, plan towards them. It's a structured way to apply that visualization technique.
Exactly. And think about Sarah, a nurse originally from Nigeria, now in London. Every morning, she tells herself, I lead a healthcare innovation team. It started as just words, an affirmation. But now, people notice her confidence. It inspires her team. And it's clearly fueling her drive as she pursues an executive MBA. She's embodying that vision.
One thing Hill really emphasizes, which I find really relevant today, is that just having information isn't the key. What's the real difference between knowing stuff and using it effectively? He talks about specialized knowledge plus imagination.
That's such a critical point. It's why you see initiatives like Horizon Europe. They specifically fund niche R&D. The whole goal is merging deep expertise with, creative, innovative applications. It's not just collecting facts, it's building something new from them.
And the scale of this is massive.
Right.
The R&D market in emerging economies, over $1 trillion now. Look at India's ICT exports, $150 billion. That's specialized knowledge creating huge economic value.
Right. And on a human level, think of James, an engineer in Nairobi. He knows sensors inside out. That's his specialized knowledge. But he combines that with imagination to design these innovative solar water pumps for communities that need them. The product exists right at that intersection of skill and creativity.
Okay, let's tackle principles 6 and 7. Organized planning and decision. Hill really stresses structured plans and making decisions quickly, and he gives this stark warning about procrastination, something I think we can all recognize.
Definitely. And it echoes in policy, like the Mumbai Consensus for India. It prioritizes services-led growth. Okay, that's the vision. But crucially, it includes clear state-level implementation plans. It's not just a dream. It's organized planning with definite decisions built in. How are we actually going to do this?
And for a micro example, think of Li Wei in Shanghai with her fintech startup. She maps out a detailed 12-month roadmap and holds weekly meetings to track progress. That constant review, that structure, it keeps procrastination at bay. It's Hill's idea in practice.
The discipline is key.
Moving on to principle 9, the mastermind alliance. This idea of coordinating effort with others working in harmony. It feels very modern too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the data backs it up strongly. Something like 40% of startup founders say their peer groups, their masterminds, essentially help them double funding within a year. And that ties into persistence too. Think about this. 80% of millionaires are self-made, and they went through bankruptcy, on average 3.5 times. That's persistence, often fueled by the support and wisdom of a network.
Yeah, you don't usually get through that alone. And governments seem to recognize this too. You see global SME networks, incubators, like those co-working hubs popping up everywhere, say across Canada. They're kind of creating mastermind environments at scale, aren't they?
They really are fostering that collaboration. Look at Mariana in Sao Paulo. She's part of this weekly group for female entrepreneurs. They don't just share wins. They talk about failures, support each other. That shared perseverance helped her food tech venture finally turn profitable after 2 tough years. That's the mastermind effect.
Now, a really powerful point Hill makes is about fear. He says fear kills more dreams than failure ever does, that initial hurdle.
It's so true.
Huh.
And it's fascinating how modern policy tries to address this with nudge theory, like auto-enrollment for retirement savings. It makes the beneficial choice the default. Why? To overcome that psychological inertia, that fear of making the commitment. It just happens.
That's clever. And the stats on goal setting tie in here too, right? Studies show 92% of high achievers set specific written goals, and those who don't often just drift. It shows the power of pushing past that initial hesitation.
Yeah, pushing past the fear. Think about Carlos in Mexico City. He was genuinely terrified about committing fully to his family's business. So what did he do? The smallest possible step. Sold just 5 products online. Tiny action. But it broke the paralysis. It unlocked momentum and eventually profit. Overcoming that initial fear was everything.
We've covered a lot, but Hill also gets into things like sex transmutation, subconscious control, the sixth sense. These sound a bit more out there, but he frames them as building mental resilience, right? Like a kind of deeper mindset.
Right, maybe less tangible, but still part of the system for a powerful mindset. And you can find echoes even here. Think about Japan's Kaizen philosophy. Continuous small improvements. Everyone contributes. That reflects Hill's idea of incremental progress through imagination and persistence. And even UNESCO has creative economy policies now, actively treating imagination as a national resource, harnessing that intangible Hill talked about.
And bringing it right down to the ground level, there's the story of Nadia, a teacher in rural Afghanistan. She actually started holding mental attitude sessions in her classroom, actively teaching resilience, positive thinking, essentially fostering Hill's mindset in young kids facing incredible challenges.
Wow, that's powerful. So looking back, you really can see the threads, can't you?
Oh.
Hill's desire connects to Singapore's SkillsFuture, that 42% goal-setting boost, and Priya writing down her startup plan. Faith and visualization, that's Finland's vision boards, and Sarah repeating her leadership affirmation. Specialized knowledge. You see it in India's $150 billion ICT exports, the huge R&D market, and James building his solar plums. Planning and decision. The Mumbai consensus. Lee Wei's fintech roadmap. Clear parallels, mastermind and persistence. Those startup groups boosting funding by 40%, Mariana's food tech finally hitting profit. And overcoming fear. That's nudge theory, the 92% goal setter stat, and Carlos making that first crucial online sale. It all links up.
It really does. It seems Think and Grow Rich, despite its age, is still a surprisingly relevant playbook globally. It shows up everywhere.
Absolutely. It's like the core principles are timeless. And when you combine them with modern policy, with what we now know about behavior and just sheer human determination, they're not just old ideas. They become a living system for growth, still incredibly potent today.
So Hill's core message hold. Think, plan, act. After hearing all this, the question for you listening is, what will you do to grow rich? Not just in wealth, perhaps, but in impact.